And with us also is Neville Thandroyan, Director of Digital Network Solutions at Helios Towers. And last but not least is Amit Pathak, AVP of East Africa from Yahsat. You heard from him in the morning. He's going to be on this panel again. So the topic of this session is network portfolios. We've heard across the day, yesterday and today, of a huge wide range of solutions from fiber to mobile to satellite and so on. And in this session, our experts are going to talk about how do you piece together a network with different kinds of options, how do you build your stack, how do you migrate from one to the other, and so on. Whole bunch of other questions which our moderator will take us through. So a big round of applause again for Edwin, Anindya, Sanjay, Neville, and Amit. Over to you now.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. As I've been introduced, my name is Edwin, and I'm here with the best of the panelist members. So we have had a lot since yesterday, and it's now a challenge for you guys to try to bring something new on network portfolios. So we won't take much time of your time. I will go straight with the first question to Mitra. Among these connectivity options that are around Africa, okay, what do you think we should pay attention to more? And maybe in what sense can you share? Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, thanks, Edwin. Thanks, Extensia. Yesterday, I touched upon a few points, and I felt there was a lot of curiosity when I mentioned about monkey business. But again, there is a lot of gaps still, a lot of capacity demands. I've been listening the whole day yesterday and today. People were talking about digital divide. People were talking about capacity bottleneck, cost, which is very high in Africa, and also the accessibility of the network is sometimes a challenge in most of the parts that we work. I personally spent 30 years now in Africa. We started building networks from the day of SDH, PDH networks. I don't know how many people are aware of such kind of technologies. So we started from SDH, PDH networks in very complex countries like Chad, Niger, DRC, very complex. In fact, in Tanzania, we built the first network with Tigo way back in 2006, 2007. So there has been a lot of evolvement from prehistoric times of when the technology was evolving. Ceragon always learns to innovate, and we are continuously innovating. We were the first to launch 1 gig on the microwave, and people thought that we are crazy. They said, 1 gig, there's no appetite for 1 gig. But today, we are talking about 10 gig, 20 gig on the air. And Ceragon is continuously pushing the bar in terms of bringing high throughputs and bringing spectral efficiencies. So we are now launching the 100 gig on the air, which is quite a revolution. 2025 with our own chipsets, which is again an in-house driven product. So other bigger challenges when you have multiple vendors in your network. So when you learn to optimize or you learn to build your CapEx requirements for next year, there is always a challenge in terms of which networks are working in what tandem. Are there a homogeneous view of the network? So Ceragon again came up with the concept of something we call the digital twin, where we are converging multi-vendor scenarios, irrespective of the products in the network, starting from your RAN to core to microwave to fiber, be it the Cisco routers or any routing equipment that you're using, and drilling down up to the power systems within your network. So we are converging all these systems into one view. When you talk about one view from a management perspective, they look at it, where is my network today, and tomorrow where I want to go. So this gives a complete picture, and you can create AI-driven dashboards which are specific to, okay, today my capacity uptake is, say, 2 gig. But what I'm seeing is there are surge in the network at certain pockets of time and certain period of time. So how do I redimension my network to look at bridging that gap within that time frame? So these are some of the things which are possible, and we are taking this to the next level. So I think in a very nutshell, this is what I can say. Maybe.
Thank you so much. Now, just to add on that, Amit, yeah, and then what do you think then should customers now focus when choosing or deciding to choose what kind of network to go with?
Sure. Hello? Yeah. So add to my panelist, add on to his points, I mean about what exciting trends do you see in Africa in terms of connectivity? Obviously, I would say there was never have been a time wherein satellite had so much of attention. Of course, I would say thanks to Starlink, the way, I mean, they go, everybody knows satellite now. I mean, I'll thank them. In a way, it has helped to all of us that at least satellite has the attention now. It used to be always, but the way it is now. So yeah, that's the one exciting thing. What I would give message is, like I mentioned in my workshop, is we do a lot of, I mean, we see exciting things, a lot of projects that we do. We are not restricted only as a satellite terminal or satellite capacity these days. We do a lot of end-to-end integration to softwares. We have integrated solar panels, which we have implemented projects for schools, for MNOs across Africa. So that's another trend that I see. Yeah, we do a lot of school projects, vehicle tracking, which are again catching up the momentum. That's good part. So we are seeing the traction, as well as including the governments are coming out with lot of, like last year we had the UCSAF RFP in Tanzania to cater to the very remote locations, basically through the Universal Access Fund. So we do see that trend coming across. We would like to see more of that. There's still a lot of work to be done, especially in terms of East Africa and Tanzania. So that's the thing I would like to see going ahead. But then, yeah, there are trends that are catching up, and we are yet to capitalize on it.
Okay, thank you so much. Neville and Sanjay, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I was in Nairobi last week at another conference, and the hot topic was obviously satellite and how it's impacting Africa. And I think, being here with someone from the microwave space, guys from the satellite space, etc., there's lots of options and, let's say, different capabilities that now operators can choose from to get the best connectivity for what they require. And I think that's, like my colleague mentioned from Yahsat, it's giving the operators more option to increase and expand their coverage and capacity in different ways.
Thank you very much. Apart from the traditional networks such as satellite, microwave, and fiber, there are also some less trends, but quite notable. For example, community-based networks. So these are areas where commercial operators have less interest to go because there's less interest in terms of commercial gain. So community themselves decide to build the network in collaboration with NGOs and government. And this really enhances the way they can access services such as healthcare and education. So, but we also see that cities also invest in public Wi-Fi to enhance the coverage, where they can tap onto other traditional network and leverage on them. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now let's go to the next question. So we have different, Sanjay, we have different connectivity, and we have different infrastructure options. And maybe there are some misconceptions, okay, around that one. What do you think are factors maybe one should consider?
Thank you very much, Edwin. Maybe I would like to share some practical insight and experience when we were building our own network in Zanzibar. So we transitioned through many networks. Of course, the very first one was dial-up network, which is not even mentioned nowadays. But then the second network that we built was microwave network, which really served our purpose for quite a long time. But you know, Zanzibar is home to a growing hospitality industry. So we quickly realized through engagement with our customers that network will no longer be able to handle the throughput. And that's when we decided to roll out our fiber optic network. So that decision was driven by our own engagement, you know, customer needs, what the customer needs now. But we also realized that not every part of Zanzibar really requires high-speed broadband. For example, our sister island in Pemba, where business was growing much slower than in Zanzibar, there was no need for us to invest into fiber network because the cost of investment, the cost of maintaining the network, the cost of upgrading this network is quite high. So we felt that having a hybrid network on one part where it's really needed and still maintaining microwave network is still a viable option for us. Scalability is also another factor that we looked at because especially during COVID, Zanzibar opened its door much earlier than other parts of the world where were facing lockdown. So we saw that there was a huge influx of people wanting to come to Zanzibar, not only to visit for a couple of weeks, but actually staying there for much longer doing work, escaping the lockdown from their countries. So we anticipated a trend where there will be co-working space. There will be a dedicated working space that will be established in Zanzibar. There will be new residential areas. There will be new business communities. So we built our network such that it is scalable and upgradable easily. Instead of overhauling the whole network, just adding components to the network and just making sure that it serves the purpose. So just to answer your question, some of the misconceptions are one size fit all. You know, there are different geographies, different markets, and you cannot just decide to put one network and assuming that that will really fit the purpose of all consumers. By engaging with your consumers, by knowing their requirements, you can decide to build hybrid network, satellite internet, you can decide to put fiber internet, you can decide to put microwave, even mobile internet. So that decision is. The second misconception is newer technologies are superior to existing technologies. Now, newer technologies do come with cutting-edge solution, but they also do come up with, they have potential challenges such as compatibility issues, cost issues. So operators have to evaluate carefully before making sweeping changes to their network. Would changing network serve their need requirement? Also, neglecting future growth is another misconception because with technology changing by the day, the artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, digital intelligence, we can be overwhelmed with technologies. And these are the coming wave, as we call them. But they're already at our doorstep. So we actually have to plan, you know, for the future, for the very near future, how do we actually scale that network and it can be extended easily. So these are some of the misconceptions that I would like to clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. On the matter of AI and machine learning, I'm glad you mentioned some other technologies because people might think that only AI and machine learning are there. But in the aspect of network, can you add some more, even you guys, if you have something to add? Is there anything else besides AI, and do you think AI can really change or bring the optimal, the promises that it promises?
No, of course, AI is the future. A lot of investments are going into AI. But again, AI is just a tool. You tell AI what it wants to do, and that's what it will do. It will not think on its own and do something which is what a human brain can do it. But moving away for a minute from the AI part of it, there is one question which we always work with a lot of regulators around the continent, is the cost of spectrum. I think that is a very important topic because the cost of each megabit of spectrum that every telco or ISP procures, they're paying from their nose. And that becomes really expensive to roll out networks because end of the day, there is no ROI. If you're talking about rural enterprises, if you're talking about community networks, and then if you're talking about the spectrum costs vis-a-vis the real costs or purpose of the network, it defeats the purpose. That's number one. Number two, we are talking about 5G, world is talking about 7G, and the adoption of even 4G is not that prevalent in every part of this continent. The reason, there are many. One is operators always look at the ROI. Where is my ROI? I'm going to deploy a network, and is it going to make sense for me to deploy or invest in such a huge investment, and then there is no ROI? That's number one. Number two, millimeter wave. Millimeter wave is a big wave across the world. There are a lot of countries in Africa who have adopted millimeter wave that to take the next step to 5G. And in 5G, we all know that densification of the network is the most important part. But there are many countries, we are still yet to adopt millimeter wave as one of the spectrum licenses. So these are some of the things which needs to be kept in mind when we are talking about a countrywide or rural or digital divide. These are the key factors that we should look at.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Edwin, just to add on the AI and ML question, across all industries, there's a, digitization happening now. So irrespective of any industry you're looking at. And I think the ICT sector is going to play a pivotal part in helping that process. Because as soon as people start digitizing, you've got the data center companies that are involved. And even by virtue of AI itself, it's creating more pressure on data centers. I think in the panel yesterday, the guys were talking about the increased resource demand because of AI itself. So once you start digitizing, you need connectivity to your offices. And even if you take a simple thing like a bank, your banks need to be connected together. People need to be connected to the bank, and this connection is going to be provided by the telco sector. So, yes, AI and ML is there very much to make things more efficient, make things faster, quicker, easier. And, I went for a talk a couple of months ago where the guy was explaining how to manually do a certain amount of calculations will take us 1,000 years, and you run it through AI and it takes 2 days, So yes, there's going to be a lot of value that it brings. But it also brings its own challenges in terms of power requirements, in terms of resource it's going to be very resource hungry, and but it's going to also require much more connectivity and collaboration between different people to get it to work to the level we expect it to.
Amit.
Yeah, thank you. On the topic, since we are on AI, I would like to just as an introduction or knowledge for the industry, I'd like to quickly introduce Yahsat will be as well from 1st of October coming out with a new fresh brand called as Space 42. So we will have a new name. Now what Space 42 does is, exactly to address the point, is that we will be coming out with space-based AI solutions. Now, what is happening is we will be merging with a company called as Bayanath. Bayanath is again into satellite. It's a UAE government company again, but they have their satellites specifically for Earth's observation, weather forecasting, geospatial, so all that kind of satellites, while Yahsat is a communication satellite provider. So with coming out with Bayanath, that is a Space 42, we will be providing AI-based services. Now, again, space-based AI means, there to quickly give you an example or a case study. Bayanath has a project in Abu Dhabi, which is a manless taxi project. So this is what AI can do. So they have already implemented project. It's again a pilot project. However, it's been there for a while. It's a manless taxi operating on a certain route. Now, the passengers sit in the taxi and taxi takes them till the airport. So that is what is possible with AI space-based, because from space, there is a whole view of the full city itself. Again, AI-based satellite again brings into picture a lot of, beneath the earth kind of services. So whenever a lot of government, lot of mining industries are approaching us as to whenever they have to put up a certain big investment, they obviously want to know whether the geography is suitable for that particular thing, whether it's building a new city. So this is all based on AI. They compare it, and whether we talk about weather forecasting, again, it is based on AI. We get real-time update because that's compared to the data that is already there. So this is what space-based AI can do, and we will be as well coming out with those services in October itself. Thank you.
Big up, Larry. We are excited to hear more when it comes out.
Thank you very much. So in relation to how artificial intelligence and machine learning can actually optimize network management and improve network management, they can bring very exciting capabilities to how networks can be managed. So as we know, artificial intelligence and ML work on adaptive learning. So they analyze the current pattern, data analytics, to predict future demand or network or consumer behavior patterns. So few possibilities that we can think quickly is much better network management. So traditionally, networks are managed by human manually, and it's very reactive through very reactive troubleshooting, which increases inefficiencies and downtimes. So artificial intelligence can create self-healing networks, by automating the whole process of how network troubleshooting can be done, configuration management, rerouting of traffic in response to outages, in response to network defects. Another possible way is to enhance network security. So the existing tools that we have to deal with cyber security issues may not be sophisticated enough for advanced cyber threats. So AI can help here by analyzing unusual network patterns or by detecting anomalies in our network. They can provide faster response and thwart the cyber attacks. They can also do proactive maintenance, so by using the predictive analysis of AI, you can actually monitor the health of components in the network and detect any issues before they become bigger issues or before they escalate into bigger issues. So you can detect fault or unusual patterns in the network and send alerts so operators can respond much faster, which again improves uptime and can optimize network. Improving customer experience is also another possibility. So for example, AI-powered chatbots can be used to provide support to customers and respond to the questions around the clock, where human beings can deal with more complex tasks. By analyzing usage behavior, it can also tailor connectivity and bandwidth solution for individuals. So it can allocate resources or tailor bandwidth for applications such as video streaming or gaming. So overall, it improves a personalized customer experience and quality of service. Thank you.
Good. A lot to come. And I think that's why people are saying, AI is going to take our job. The worry is that. So the next question goes to Neville. We have seen already from even Mint that collaboration is there in tech companies, okay? And we can see that it has some of its importance. Can you share with us and maybe go a bit more? What do you think are possible challenges and what these companies can do to to ensure that the collaborations really achieve the goal they want?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what Rakesh said in the previous panel about how it's an ecosystem and, collaboration is very important. And I wanted to share an example of something we went through closer to home for a lot of people in Tanzania. We worked on a project where it's a very busy market in Tanzania. And, there's macro sites around, but the people who work in the market, it's in the basement and on the first floor. They don't have good coverage because they're in between buildings, et cetera, et cetera. And we worked together with a couple of the big operators in Tanzania. We worked together with the regulator. And, they asked us to put a solution together. And the solution entailed putting a sector into the basement market. It entailed getting coverage to the areas on the first floor, which were in between buildings. And, we were trying to figure out how to do this. We engaged with the municipality. And at that stage, that municipality was looking at improving lighting in the area. So, we spoke to them. We said, we can put up the telco equipment on light poles, on lamp posts. So we killed two birds with one stone. They were happy that we improved lighting in the area. And, that made our approval to get those locations a little bit easier. We engaged with the landlords because in that area, even though there was one block of the market, there were probably 14 landlords that owned buildings there. So we had to engage with the landlords. And, when we deployed this solution, and we switched on, and I remember the guys who went to test, the vendors were actually shaking their hands and thanking them because previously they had to take their point of sale devices outside onto the street if somebody wanted to pay by card, And I know it's a simple example, but the point is it just shows how much collaboration is needed to deploy something. And if we look at globally the trends, you've got, we're talking about satellite and people partnering with satellite providers now in Africa to expand their reach. There's a whole lot of collaboration with the big hyperscalers. Some of the big operators globally are moving their cloud, using the cloud services for their core equipment. So moving the cloud, and I worked at an operator 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If you told an operator, you're going to give up a piece of your network like the core, they tell you no ways, because they always want total control. And now, because of the demand, because of the requirements, the cost points, etc., there's a bigger ecosystem to collaborate in to try and get meet all the objectives that we're looking at. It's bridging the digital divide. It's ensuring that people can get good quality internet. And it's no longer, just connecting people. It's connecting things. The environment is changing. Smart cities, it's been a buzzword, but you're starting to see it deployed. Another simple example, in a city, there used to be a route for people to pick up the dirt from the bins. So every day the guy drives to every bin to check if it's full or not. Now there's sensors in the bin, so he only goes to the bin that's full. Suddenly he can do 2 routes in the same day. It's a simple thing, but it just shows the power that technology can bring. But again, it's collaboration between different entities, different groups to give you that end product and give the consumer the benefit at the end of the day.
Good. So our time is not there, but in the final note for you all, you can close as you give your suggestion as well. What do you think these decision makers are here need to consider in these issues of network, and how should they go about preparing for these changes that are coming?
I think let me start. I think the most important thing is Africa is rising. It's not the same when I came 30 years back. Things have changed a lot. I think there is a lot of appetite for new technologies today, and people talk about things which have just been launched in other developed countries. It's immediate in Africa. So there is a lot of, in terms of empowerment, in terms of education, it has crossed a lot of bridges. But I think what is really required is, as we have been discussing for the last 2 days, is the digital divide. That's very important. I think most of us around here should take the responsibility to see how we can meaningfully do this digital divide, because it's very important to bring every part of us to take our technologies to the people who really deserve it. There might be a very interesting or very intelligent person sitting in some corner of a village, but he doesn't have a resource to access. And we should all take the responsibility to take these technologies to such kind of people and bring them to limelight. I think that if that is done, then the purpose of all this conversation is already solved. Thanks.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think what's important is that we learn from each other. So, you know, there's a lot of different things in different stages within different countries on the continent. And, you know, closer collaboration between countries, understanding where things work, seeing if we can duplicate and use that in other markets is very important. Case in point is UCSAF in Tanzania. I know it's been mentioned a couple of times, but it's probably one of the, you know, the best examples of how UCSAF is run in the continent, and other people are learning from it. So again, just, you know, with all these technology and, like you mentioned, being, you know, flooded by so many different things, it's time to make sure that we get the best of each type of technology to deploy.
Thank you very much. You know, with technology, deployment of network, and embracing new technologies, we must not also forget the issue of sustainable practices, because there's a growing concern of business practices on the environment. So when building networks, embracing technologies, we must ensure that sustainable practices are, so for example, using renewable energy or solar-powered base stations could be a good example. But other thing is, you know, the technologies, because technologies can be overwhelming. And if you're not careful, you know, you can overwhelm your workforce that is trusted to actually manage these technologies. So it's very important to introduce these technologies in a sustainable way, and bring about that cultural change within your workforce, but also to provide training and education to workforce so that they can handle these technologies and network much better. Thank you very much.
Just to add to what Sanjay said, you know, for the decision makers or the stakeholders, while deciding on their connectivity options, I'd definitely like to, you know, consider satellite as a you know, option, because we are helping a lot of governments in Africa to reach out to schools, very far off rural schools where there is no electricity, no mobile, no fiber. We are implementing school projects in a very affordable manner. Two, we are doing a lot of postal projects. Post office, one of the branches are so remotely reached already in every country. That's one of the oldest network. You know, if we are able to enable them to even get on for the citizen financial services by giving them the right connectivity, you know, it's a big game changer for the government. All the cash money flowing in, that comes into the system. 2, 3, of course, we are helping a lot of MNOs to take the network further, their mobile networks, 2G, 3G, 4G, whatever it is, even further to where they are. They could do wherever they could not do on fiber, that are very rural areas. It's the government's mandate as well to take the services to those citizens. So they are part of this ecosystem and address the digital divide. We are helping the MNOs on those areas as well in a very affordable manner, to an extent that they cannot do it on fiber and they can do it on the satellite. So we do a lot of 2G, 3G projects. So yeah, that's the message. But yeah, there are a lot of connectivity options. These are the things. We as well do solar panels along with the satellite. So yeah, that's true. And Yahsat, is there anything you have? We are ready to discuss. Thank you.
So much. This place is for connectivity, so if you have any other questions or you're interested, you can contact them anytime. I think the panelists have said it all. It's up to you guys to take in and work on what we have suggested to you guys. So back to you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much to our whole panel. Thanks, Edwin, Anindya, Sanjay, Neville, and Amit. Big round of applause, please, for our panelists. And will you all please come to the front for a group photograph? With that, we come to an end of a very interesting panel on network portfolios. We heard all about how different kinds of technologies are emerging and the challenges for you in the audience to figure out the best way to mix and match all of these different kinds of options. And it's a shifting target, so every year the stack gets redefined, the options get redefined, so you need to be on your toes, and please do stay in touch with all our speakers for any further concerns, issues you may have about this discussion. Once again, a big round of applause to Edwin for anchoring this panel, along with Anindya, Sanjay, Neville, and Amit. Thank you all so much.